January 2nd, 2022. Today we get to put 2021 behind us, along with everything else that we've been dragging along. And we look at the beginning of a new year as the beginning of a new cycle of life. A time of renewal, a time of letting go, a time to make resolutions. In Philippians, Paul wrote, "Forgetting the things that are before, I press on toward the goal and to the prize of the high calling of God." Our theme for 2021 was staying centered no matter what. And each month we looked at one of the 12 powers and how to use that within our lives to be centered no matter what was going on. This year, our annual theme is the year of worthiness. Each month, we will focus on a new aspect of us and declare that worthiness that we have. This month is personal growth. And today, Ed will be leading us through two rituals, the burning bowl and the letters to God. In the burning bowl, where we will release all that no longer serves us, and then the letter to God to set our intentions for the year. And before we do all of that, let us prepare our hearts and our minds and affirm our worthiness for change. As we prepare for meditation, we go ahead and lower the lights. Find yourselves sitting solid in your chair with your feet flat on the floor, letting the back of the chair support you. If you're at home, if you're sitting in a chair, let that chair support you. Or if you prefer, you can sit on the floor in the lotus position with your spine straight and in line. Or you can lay on the floor, you can lay on the couch, you can stay in bed. Just in a place of comfort and focus. And we're going to take a deep breath in, and we're going to hold that breath for a couple of seconds, and then we'll release that. We'll do that 3 times. So breathe in through your nose, and hold, and release. Letting go of the tensions in your neck and shoulders. And taking another deep breath in through your nose, breathing in, and holding, and release. Relaxing your arms and your back, but keeping a straight spine in line. And another deep breath in, and holding, and exhale. Letting all that air out. And now gently breathe naturally. I invite you to bring to your mind this past year. The joys, the successes, the disappointments, the hurts, the loves, the gains and the losses. Bring that all into your mind. As Paul said to the Philippians, forget the things that are before. We're not erasing the events of the year. These are the experiences that make our lives what they are. What we are forgetting, what we are letting go of, are the thoughts that we have put on These thoughts are the shadows of what we perceived. They are the lower vibrations. They've been lowered to the vibration of the sense perception and are no longer serving our spiritual growth. These thoughts have kept us bound to the past and prevent us from moving forward in our expanding consciousness. We can honor and love past events and then give them to God, raising the vibration. Reverend Charles Roth wrote, "If we have come through lack or limitation or ill health during this year, if we have been disappointed or hurt or unjustly tread, we must forget all these things. We must rejoice that today we live, that today God is with us. What we were deprived of yesterday does not matter. What we suffered yesterday does not matter. What we thought and felt yesterday does not matter. What matters is how we feel today, what we think today, what we have faith in today, what we look forward to today." As we move ahead in this year, let us have the knowing that God is working with us and for us. Divine Spirit, we thank you for today, and we thank you for each day to come. May this year bring personal growth for each of us. May this year bring us happiness, abundance, good health, success, love, and so much more. May we recognize our own self-worth and receive the prize of the high calling of God, a higher consciousness. And let us begin this by affirming. And as we prepare to affirm, let my words be your words for the moment. I release all blocks and thoughts of limitation. I release all blocks and thoughts of limitation. Say that with me now. I release all blocks and thoughts of limitation. And as I state our affirmation for January, I invite you to repeat it in your mind. I am worthy of personal growth. I deserve to be all I can be. And I claim my expanded potential now. And now quietly repeat after me. I am worthy of personal growth.
I am worthy of personal growth.
I deserve to be all I can be.
I deserve to be all I can be.
And I claim my expanded potential now.
And I claim my expanded potential now.
Now I invite you to open your eyes, if you haven't already, and we will affirm together. I am worthy of personal growth. I deserve to be all I can be, and I claim my expanded potential now. And now, if you are able, I invite you to stand up. I deserve to be all I can be, and I claim my expanded potential now. For the rest of the month, I invite you to state this affirmation, not just on Sunday morning. Every morning when you get out of bed, and every night before you go to sleep. Go ahead and sit down.
Good morning. What a beautiful, albeit chilly, morning it is. I want to start today by sharing a couple of Buddhist stories. The first one, we've actually heard here before, but this was a variation on it that I have not heard before. And it goes like this. One fine, warm spring day, two monks, one young and one old, were traveling to a village far from their monastery to do some trading in the high mountains where they lived. In those mountains, there were only small trails between villages, no roads, and few bridges. The spring had been especially warm. Winter's dense snow was melting quickly, and many streams had become too swollen and dangerous to cross. After walking a distance on a rugged, steep trail, the two monks came upon a fast-moving stream where a small, young woman stood timidly on the bank, afraid to cross. The young monk reminded himself that as part of his religious training, he had vowed never to touch anyone of the opposite sex. He nodded to the young woman as he passed her, lifted his monk's robes up slightly, and carefully began to negotiate the stream. But to the young monk's amazement, the elder monk sped right past him while carrying the young woman in his arms. When the old monk put her down on the far shore, she bowed respectfully to him in thanks. Not saying a word in reply, the monk gave her a bright, broad smile and went on his way with a quick step. The young monk saw that the elder had continued on without him. With some effort, he finally managed to catch up. But as they walked on, he considered and reconsidered the old monk's action back at the stream. And with each passing mile, his thoughts grew angrier and angrier, until hours later, he stopped in his tracks, flushed with rage. He shouted and sputtered at the old monk, "You broke your sacred vows. You were never to touch a woman. How can you forgive yourself? You should not be allowed back to our monastery." Surprised at this outburst, the old monk turned to face him. "I put that woman down hours ago," he said. "Have you been carrying her all this time?" The second story involves the Laughing Buddha. I'm sure many of you have heard of the Laughing Buddha. He was actually a Zen monk who lived in ancient China over 1,000 years ago. He was an extremely jovial and joyful person. Every single day, he would walk about the village laughing and enjoying. He would also carry a large bag around with him filled with toys. And every single day, he would play with all the children of the village. He would even roll around in the mud with them, leaving his clothes brown and dirty. Now there was another Zen monk who lived in the same village, and he said to himself, "What is this? This is intolerable. How can a Zen monk act like this? He is wearing clothes so loose they might fall off any second. He's rolling around in mud. I must confront him about his disgraceful behavior." So the next day, as the Laughing Buddha walked down the path and through the village carrying his large bag of toys, the Zen monk approached him with a large knife in his hand and demanded, "What is the meaning of Zen?" The Laughing Buddha, who was always smiling, stopped smiling for the first time. He stood there with a serious face. Then he released the bag he was holding. It hit the ground with a thud. Then he smiled again. The Zen monk wasn't impressed. "How does one realize Zen?" he asked. The Laughing Buddha picked up the bag from the ground, smiled, and walked away in the other direction. It was then that the Zen monk immediately realized the wisdom that he had encountered. He ran back to the Laughing Buddha and pleaded for forgiveness because he realized in order to achieve Zen and find happiness, one must drop the burden that one is carrying. Burdens. We all carry burdens. Some are light, some are even joyful burdens. Some are extremely heavy. I loved the little bit of laughter that came from Michael's use of the imagery of dragging those things behind us. I think we all know that feeling of dragging things along with us and them dragging us down. It is even important enough that it appears in the Lord's Prayer, right? Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Or if you prefer, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Or, one of my favorites is the Aramaic retranslation from Neil Douglas Klotz. And there are many versions because the language is so layered. But one of my favorite versions says, "Loose the cords of mistakes binding us as we release the strands we hold of others' guilt." That sense of being bound speaks to me. And the fact that we consciously and intentionally hold on to those strands of others' guilt that we need to release. So let us keep that focus in mind today as we move toward our burning bowl ritual. And both the burning bowl today and the letter to God have been adapted from shared unity rituals. So we will start with prayer. So find yourself comfortable. And if it feels right to you, let these words of prayer be your words of prayer. Living, loving Creator, birther of the cosmos, today we come before you, hearts open, minds receptive to the gifts of this new year. We still our thoughts that we may hear your thoughts speaking to us and through us now. Open us to the vision of your divine will at work in all we do. Give us clarity to receive and perceive the potential of this day and every day to create for us the goodness of your purposes. Still the noise of our cluttered minds as we rest into the depths of meditation and prayer, responsive to new understandings of truth. We now let go and allow these words to guide the meditation of our hearts. Yes, God, I know this is a year of transformation. I believe in the beauty, the possibilities, the transformations, and the promises of this new year. Within me is the assurance that seeds sleeping in the earth's cradle will awaken, break through into their divine fulfillment, and become radiant expressions of your divine plan for beauty. Yes, God, I know the trees now resting in the stillness of January's cold will burst forth in opulent splendor as the spring rains encourage their growth. Their treasures of shade, fruit, and the cool rustling leaves can even now be sensed in their naked branches of the new year's beginning. And yes, God, I understand that cycles will be fulfilled. Caterpillars will be transformed into golden-winged butterflies. The healing rays of the sun will greet the morning, and dreams will manifest as I allow your will to flow through me. And so it is. Amen. You should have received 2 pieces of paper and an envelope this morning when you came in. We are going to be starting with the smallest piece of paper. This is special paper known as flash paper. Does anybody not have this special piece of paper? If so, please raise your hand so we can give that to you. I will encourage for anyone who is watching on Facebook, if you are planning on doing this on your own, you can use regular paper. Be mindful of safety. It is recommended that you burn anything outdoors in a container that is meant for holding flames, things like a fire pit, and something with a lid that will keep it from traveling. For our purposes here, you're going to use this to write down the things that you wish to release. We will make a line coming up this right-hand aisle. And as you come up, you will come to the bowl. You will let the corner of the paper catch fire, and then you can release the paper once it starts to burn. It will burn very quickly. Do not let that startle you. So, and you let those things be released. Once you have done that, you can move over to the other side where there is a printed version of this month's affirmation for you to take with you so that you can remember to recite it in the morning and in the evening. Right now, loving Spirit, we greet this new year aware that we are filled with all the potential we need for growth, perfection, and transformation. Your truth is now living within every cell and fiber of our being. Your love now activates our every thought and word. The joy of life moving through us now calls us to action. The presence of the indwelling Christ assures us that all is well. Relationships will strengthen in this year of transforming power. The synergy of caring enfolds us in the willingness to reach out and touch our fellow travelers along life's pathway. And in this new year, sweet Spirit, we know that you are with us, empowering us to transform difficulties into stepping stones to mastery. So truly this year is an expression of the eternal now. We move forward into each day of this year, alert to its gifts, ready for its transformations, grateful for its lessons. When we open ourselves to the infilling of Spirit, we need to create a space in which Spirit may work. And so it is that I invite you to consider what is now within your consciousness that you would like to release, to place in the burning bowl and see transformed by the flame of Spirit. As many things as you desire to release may be placed on your slip of paper. You may also abbreviate or simply communicate your ideas through prayer onto the clean white paper you hold in your hand. God promises that a new thing will be done through us when we allow Spirit the opportunity to work with us. And then one by one, we will come forward. Bring your slip of paper, hold it in the candle's flame, and watch it as the flame of Spirit consumes it in its purifying fire. Then drop it into the burning bowl. Continue resting in the stillness for a time. Connect with that power of God moving in and through you. Realize that before you now is the fabric of a new year, ready for you to design in whatever way you choose. How will you create this new year? What are your goals, your dreams, your plans? As the music plays now, listen to the voice of God within you, clarifying your direction, guiding you onward and upward, allowing you to know your life being full, your health being full, your freedom being full. This is the time when you will now focus on your letter to God with the larger piece of paper you were given. In this quiet time, use that paper to write your intentions in this new year as a letter to the divine, whatever form that takes for you. Begin to communicate your dreams in writing. Look at them in the stillness of your own being. Let them state your affirmative prayers for the new year, keeping in mind and knowing that you are worthy of personal growth. You deserve to be all that you can be, and now is the time for you to claim your expanded potential. You can take that time now to write your letters. provided for you, and address it to yourself. You will drop it off on your way out, and we will send them out to you as we reach the end of 2022. Know that as you have asked, so it will be given. All the strength, power, love, and wholeness that you affirm is right now gathering within you to enable you to know the strength of your convictions. And as we close, I want to close with one of the many versions of the Lord's Prayer, retranslated by Neil Douglas Klotz, directly from the Aramaic, the language that Jesus spoke. O birther, father, mother of the cosmos, you create all that moves in light. Focus your light within us. Make it useful as the rays of a beacon show the way. Create your reign of unity now through our fiery hearts and willing hands. Your one desire then acts with ours, as in all light, so in all forms. Produce in us, for us, the possible, each only human step toward home lit up. Loose the cords of mistakes binding us as we release the strands we hold of others' guilt. Don't let surface things delude us, but free us from what holds us back from our true purpose. For from you is born all ruling will, the power and life to do, the song that beautifies all. From age to age it renews, and so it is. Amen.
spiritual growth. And we give that to you. Hear the